This is what stays in a narcissist's mind long after you're gone. Have you ever walked away from someone who once made you question your reality, only to wonder if they ever think about you? Have you caught yourself asking, did I even matter to them? Or do they remember me at all? If you've had any kind of relationship with a narcissist, romantic, familial, professional, you might be surprised to learn that they haven't forgotten you, not by a long shot. In fact, even after years have passed, even when you've moved on and built a new life, there are certain things that remain etched into their minds like permanent scars. And no, it's not because they loved you. It's not because they regret hurting you. For a narcissist, remembering you isn't about closure. It's about control, ego, and unresolved dominance. So if you're ready to uncover the unsettling truth behind what a narcissist will never forget about you, even long after you're gone, then keep watching. Because what we're about to explore isn't just about them. It's also about how understanding their mindset can help you heal, protect yourself, and reclaim your sense of self-worth. If this resonates with you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more content on emotional healing and narcissistic behavior, and share this video with others who might need to hear this. Let's dive in. Let's start by addressing a common misconception. Many people believe that narcissists simply discard others and move on without a second thought. After all, they often act indifferent, cold, or even cruel when ending relationships. But the reality is far more complex and disturbing. Narcissists may walk away, but they rarely let go. The people they've manipulated, controlled, or destroyed continue to live inside their heads long after the relationship ends. And the reason is simple. Narcissists thrive on power. When someone challenges that power by setting boundaries, walking away, or refusing to play along, they become psychological threats. And narcissists never forgive or forget those who threaten their control. So, what exactly do they remember about you? They remember every moment they felt powerful over you, every time you gave them admiration, every time you bent to their will, every time you apologized for something that wasn't your fault. They replay these victories like trophies in their minds. These memories feed their fragile ego and reinforce their belief that they were in control. But here's the darker side. They also remember every time you resisted them, every time you stood up for yourself, every time you called out their lies, every time you refused to give in. Those moments haunt them, not because they care about you, but because they couldn't fully dominate you. And for a narcissist, being challenged is like a wound that never heals. That's why, even years later, they'll still think about you, not with affection, not with remorse, but with irritation, frustration, and a deep-rooted need to prove that they were right and you were wrong. What many survivors fail to realize is that the end of a relationship doesn't mean the end of the narcissist's obsession. In fact, the opposite is true. Once you've exited their life, especially if you did so on your own terms, you become a ghost in their mind, a ghost that haunts them because it represents something they couldn't fully possess or destroy. Narcissists live in a constant battle between their inflated self-image and the reality of how others see them. And when someone sees through their mask, especially someone they once tried to manipulate, it leaves a mark. That mark becomes a point of fixation, a symbol of their failure to maintain control. And make no mistake, narcissists hold grudges longer than most. They don't forget who stood up to them, who exposed their flaws, or who simply moved on without looking back. They may pretend to have moved on, but deep down, they carry those memories like knives they plan to use someday. This is why many narcissists engage in post-breakup behaviors like stalking, hovering, or triangulation. It's not about love or reconciliation. It's about proving that they still matter to you, that they still have some level of influence, that they haven't lost completely. And if they can't get that validation directly from you, they'll find other ways to remind themselves of their supposed superiority. Whether it's comparing you to new partners, rewriting history in their heads, or spreading false narratives about you to mutual contacts, they'll find a way to reassert their dominance, even from afar. Now let's talk about one of the most insidious aspects of narcissism: projection. Narcissists rarely take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they project their own flaws, insecurities, and failures onto others. So, if you were one of the few people who truly understood their tactics, who saw through their games and refused to be played, they likely spent a lot of time trying to convince themselves and others that you were the problem. Did they tell themselves you were too sensitive, too controlling, too insecure? Did they spread rumors about you being unstable or manipulative? Chances are, yes, because narcissists cannot tolerate being seen as flawed. So instead of acknowledging their own shortcomings, they rewrite the story to paint themselves as the victim. And guess what? They haven't stopped doing that, even now. They still carry those distorted beliefs about you, still repeat those same stories to new people, still use you as an example of what went wrong in their lives. But none of it is about you. It's about them protecting their fragile ego at all costs. The more you understand this, the less power their thoughts about you will have over you, because once you realize that their version of events is nothing more than a survival mechanism, you begin to see the pattern for what it really is, a reflection of their dysfunction, not yours. Another thing narcissists never forget is how much attention they got from you. Narcissists crave admiration like oxygen. And if you were someone who gave them a lot of attention, whether through love, support, or even arguments, they remember how good it felt to have you focused on them, feeding their ego, validating their existence. But here's the catch. The more attention you gave them, the harder it is for them to let go. Because once you stop giving it, they feel the loss like a physical wound. And that's why many narcissists try to hoover former victims long after the relationship has ended. They want that supply back, even if they were the ones who walked away. Even if they were the ones who hurt you, they still want to know that you're there waiting, watching, hoping. It's a twisted form of emotional dependency. And it's one of the reasons narcissists often come back into people's lives uninvited, pretending everything is fine, acting like nothing ever happened. Because to them, you're not a person with feelings, you're a resource. And resources shouldn't be wasted. So, if you've ever wondered whether a narcissist still thinks about you, wonder no more. The answer is yes, but not in the way you might hope. But here's the empowering part. Knowing this shouldn't scare you. It should free you. Because once you understand that their inability to forget you has nothing to do with love or longing, you begin to see the whole dynamic for what it is, a cycle of control, manipulation, and insecurity. And the more you understand that, the less power they have over you. One of the most important steps in healing from narcissistic abuse is recognizing that their obsession with you is not a compliment. It's not proof that they loved you or missed you. It's proof that they couldn't handle losing control. And that's not something to take personally. It's something to acknowledge, process, and ultimately release. Think about it. Would you want someone who only remembers you because they couldn't dominate you? Would you want to be the object of someone's obsessive, vengeful thoughts? Probably not. And that's okay. Because you deserve to be remembered for the right reasons, with love, respect, and genuine connection. The next time you catch yourself wondering if they still think about you, remind yourself that the answer doesn't change your value. You are not defined by their inability to let go. You are not responsible for their mental gymnastics or their emotional chaos. You are free, and that freedom is worth everything. Now let's address a question that many survivors ask. If narcissists still think about me, does that mean I was important to them? The short answer is no, not in the way you're hoping. Narcissists don't assign importance based on love or loyalty. They assign it based on utility, ego, and control. If you were important to them, it was because you served a purpose: attention, validation, sex, money, or influence. And once you stopped serving that purpose, or worse, once you started resisting, it was game over. But here's the twist. The fact that they still think about you is actually a sign of your strength, not theirs. It means you weren't just another pawn in their game. It means you disrupted their illusion of control. It means you showed them that you couldn't be molded, manipulated, or erased, and that sticks with them because it threatens their entire identity. So if you ever find yourself wondering whether you mattered to them, flip the script. Ask yourself, do I want to matter to someone who treats people like objects? Do I want to be remembered by someone who lacks empathy and integrity? Do I want my legacy to be tied to someone who thrives on chaos and control? The answer, I hope, is no. Because you deserve to be remembered by people who uplift you, support you, and cherish you, not by someone who tried to break you down. Another key point to consider is that narcissists rarely change. No matter how much time passes, no matter how many people they hurt or how many lives they ruin, they rarely seek real growth or accountability. Their worldview remains centered around their own needs, their own image, and their own fragile ego. And that's why, even now, they continue to ruminate on the people who challenged them, including you. This lack of change is both frustrating and illuminating. It's frustrating because it means they'll never apologize, never admit fault, and never truly understand the damage they caused. But it's illuminating because it shows you just how little their opinion of you matters. If they can't grow, can't reflect, can't evolve, then what they think of you is irrelevant. It's noise, static, a broken record playing the same tired song over and over again. And yet, many survivors struggle with this idea. They hold on to the hope that one day, the narcissist will see the light, will finally recognize the pain they caused, and will offer some form of closure. But here's the hard truth. That day almost never comes. Narcissists don't wake up one morning and decide to change unless forced by external consequences, legal, financial, or social. And even then, their change is often superficial, a performance meant to regain favor or avoid punishment. So instead of waiting for validation from someone who will never give it, focus on giving yourself the closure you deserve. Write your own ending. Create your own peace. Build your own future, one that doesn't revolve around their thoughts or their actions. Because you are not bound to their timeline. You are not required to stay stuck in their world just because they refuse to leave yours. Now let's talk about something that many survivors overlook. The danger of staying emotionally connected to a narcissist, even from afar. It's easy to fall into the trap of checking their social media, wondering what they're doing, or feeling a twinge of emotion when you hear their name. But every time you do that, you give them a piece of your energy that could be used for healing, growth, and moving forward. Narcissists thrive on attention, even negative attention. And if they sense that you're still watching, still reacting, still thinking about them, they'll find ways to pull you back in, whether through subtle provocations, manipulative messages, or even triangulation through mutual contacts. That's why going no contact is so crucial, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. It's not just about cutting off communication. It's about removing them from your inner dialogue. It's about refusing to let their memory dictate your emotions or your choices. It's about building a life where they are nothing more than a footnote in your story, not the main character. And yes, it's hard, especially in the beginning. Let's be honest. Detoxing from a narcissist is like detoxing from a powerful drug. There are cravings, withdrawals, and moments of weakness. But every time you resist the urge to check in on them, every time you choose to focus on your own healing instead of their antics, you weaken their hold on you. You reclaim your power. You remind yourself that you are stronger than their manipulation, smarter than their games, and wiser than their lies. So if you're serious about breaking free, start by deleting their number, unfollowing them on social media, and reframing your thoughts whenever they pop into your head. Replace the old narrative with a new one. I am free. I am whole. I am not defined by what they think of me. Because the truth is, the only person whose opinion of you truly matters is you. Of course, none of this is to say that healing is easy. On the contrary, recovering from narcissistic abuse is one of the most challenging emotional journeys a person can go through. It's not just about letting go of the relationship, it's about rebuilding your trust in yourself, in others, and in the world around you. Many survivors struggle with self-doubt, anxiety, depression, and even PTSD-like symptoms after leaving a narcissistic relationship. That's because narcissists are master manipulators who use tactics like gaslighting, projection, blame shifting, and intermittent reinforcement to keep their victims confused and dependent. Over time, these tactics erode a person's sense of reality. making them question their own perceptions, memories, and decisions. That's why recovery requires more than just physical separation. It requires psychological reprogramming. It requires learning to trust yourself again. It requires recognizing that you were not the problem. It requires understanding that you were dealing with someone who lacked empathy, integrity, and emotional maturity. And perhaps most importantly, it requires compassion for yourself. So, if you're still healing, give yourself permission to feel whatever you're feeling. Give yourself permission to grieve, to rage, to cry, to laugh, to move forward at your own pace. Healing is not linear. It's messy, unpredictable, and deeply personal. But every step you take, no matter how small, is progress. And remember, you are not alone. Millions of people have walked this path before you, and millions more will follow. You are part of a community of survivors who understand what you've been through, who validate your pain, and who celebrate your strength. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are a warrior who has faced darkness and lived to tell the tale. And that makes you incredibly powerful. Finally, let's talk about what comes next. Once you've processed the truth that narcissists still think about you, but not in a healthy way, you can begin to shift your focus toward your own future. Recovery isn't just about surviving the past. It's about creating a life that reflects your values, your dreams, and your resilience. Surround yourself with people who see you, who appreciate you, and who encourage you to grow. Set goals that excite you. Rediscover parts of yourself that may have been buried under years of manipulation and emotional abuse. Travel, learn, laugh, love again on your terms. Most importantly, don't let the shadow of a narcissist continue to loom over your life. They may still think about you, but that doesn't mean you have to think about them. You have the power to choose where your energy goes. And every time you choose yourself over them, you strengthen your healing and reclaim your autonomy. In the end, the best revenge is living well, living freely, living unapologetically. Because when you shine brighter than their darkness, you render them powerless. And that's the ultimate victory. Thank you for watching. If you found value in today's video, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this content with others who might benefit from understanding the mind of a narcissist. Your voice matters, your experience matters, and your healing journey matters. Remember, you are not alone. You are not crazy, and you are not to blame. You are strong, you are wise, and you are worthy of a life filled with love, peace, and authenticity. Keep going. Keep growing, keep shining, because the world needs your light.